Los Angeles, California has officially devolved into a third world country. Two homeless folks found dead at Problem Homeless Encampment in Los Angeles. Neighbors say the body was partially eaten by dogs. Their own dogs. Horrific discovery. Let's get into it. Here we go. Talked to my mom on Mother's Day, and she tells me, and she's told me this before, that some of my podcasts, she's far more sensitive than I am. I can somehow compartmentalize all these stories. Like, you hear the one about, two people that died and their dog ate them? This is one of those stories. And she said that, if it's a really rough story like this one, and maybe if rough stories bother you, this isn't one that you want to hear, just go ahead and turn it off. That's okay. She says that it sticks with her all day, and she just can't shake it. She's just like, the mental images that you bring up and the content that you're dealing with are so horrific that she just can't watch some of my podcasts, can't watch my podcasts. But that's the point, isn't it? That you've got situations that shouldn't be. We shouldn't be allowing people to live in tents on public streets in areas that are known for violence, are known for drug dealing, with fentanyl running around because people die. And this poor woman, well, we'll read this first story. Neighbors say body was partially eaten by dogs. Other articles said mauled. Disturbing death investigation is unfolding in the Westlake district of Los Angeles. Yeah, let's take a quick peek. I'll show you where this is. And Christopher, who sent me the story, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Here's where this is. So it's kind of, they call it a cul-de-sac, 1200 Huntley Drive. It's a dead-end street. It's a cul-de-sac. And you've essentially got, this is Echo, let me get my yellow pointer going. This is Echo Park up here. Echo Park had that huge homeless encampment that got cleared out after the pandemic. Here's our dead bodies here. Here's downtown Los Angeles. And then you've got Skid Row right down here. So, the Museum of Contemporary Art is, just over the 110. This is just outside of downtown Los Angeles. They call it the Westmont neighborhood, I believe. Or is it Westlake? Westlake neighborhood. Yeah, Westlake. Westmont's a college, also in California, but not there. So, is it a surprise that this happened in this close to Skid Row? Absolutely not. You got homeless encampments all over, and a lot of it has to do with all your resources for the homeless are in downtown LA, right? Downtown LA is so small. The skyline is so small compared to other bigger cities. It's just that sprawling metropolis, isn't it? Disturbing death, Westlake district of LA, where two people were found dead at a problem homeless encampment, including one who neighbors say was found partially eaten by dogs. Now, another one of the articles we're going to look at, officials confirm that the woman was partially eaten by dogs. When my son died 2 years ago, and we found his body, my oldest son, Kieran, and my son who passed away, Brennan. When they found his body, he'd been there for a few days, and it was horrific. It was horrific. Just, one of those just terrible, terrible things. And I always thought to myself, well, there's a couple of things that are worse than finding your son dead of a drug overdose, and that'd be if he was murdered. Okay, that's worse. Or if he had committed suicide. Well, I've added a third. You die of a drug overdose and your own dog eats you. Horrific. Terrible. Awful. It happens. You can say it happens. But when you got a bunch of people running around doing a bunch of drugs, and the drugs can kill you, and you allow this to happen in your streets, your public streets. It's a public street where it literally says no camping. The grisly discovery was found in an encampment along Huntley Circle near downtown LA. Woman's body was found inside a sidewalk tent that had reportedly been locked from the inside. Locking a tent, you hate to say it, but it just takes a razor knife, a utility knife, and boop, you open that bad boy right up, right? They're made out of nylon. So there's no real doing that. But from what I can understand, the female was inside and she probably just wanted to keep out all the rapists. Because that's such a thing in the homeless community. Women just get treated horrifically. Use your bodies as ATM machines and then, get high, and some people take advantage of them. It just, it's one more layer within the homeless community that people want to say, well, we should just let them do whatever they want. When they get ready to go into treatment, they'll make the right decision, which is just a whole lot of misguided ideology. It's harm reduction, all harm, no reduction. Housing first, get them into housing and then they'll sort it out. Not happening. Family members, unable to reach the victim, tore open the tarp, discovered the woman's body. A man's body was also found at the scene. He wasn't inside the tent, from my understanding. Just the two dogs were, and the dogs were hungry. And all I could think of is, no, the dogs weren't hungry because they were eating their owner. I mean, just some messed up stuff. And you do hear of these stories, but it's usually people in apartments, and they didn't die of a drug overdose. They weren't, less than 50 years old most of the time. And I think this young lady was unfortunately in her late 40s, mid 40s, and she had 6 kids. Former veteran. Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office identified the woman as 46-year-old Lucrecia Macias Barajas. The man's identity has not been released. There is video footage out there of her daughter coming across the scene. I am not playing that because this is horrific enough. This is a siren call to, you got to start involuntarily incarcerating people, either in jail. Don't recommend that because we don't, a lot of these folks, they need treatment. They need psychiatric care. They don't need the prison system, right? Cell phone video captured outside the tent shows a woman believed to be Barajas' daughter wailing in grief. I mean, again, I can't imagine much more of a worse scene than come across loved family member dead of, an overdose, other than being eaten by their own dog. Truly, truly horrific. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that you literally talk about in third world countries, and this is happening in downtown Los Angeles. The homeless encampment has been a long-time complaint of nearby residents who say it's been neglected by the city and allowed to become progressively more unsafe. These encampments get a reputation. And guess what? The drug dealers know it. And they're like, oh yeah, we can make some good money there. There's a bunch of people there. They're all need their Fetty, a few times a day. Just drive by. Somebody's going to be there. Nearby resident told KTLA's Sarah Welch that the encampment has been a chronic issue for months, with complaints to city officials and police going unaddressed. I had a conversation via, I think it was email or text. I can't really remember. Have a lot of those, you know what I mean? Just, what are you thinking? And the conversation went, Sean, you could basically take all of these stories and you could switch out the titles because they're all so interchangeable between Seattle, Portland, LA, San Francisco. They all have a whole bunch of homelessness, a bunch of criminal activity, a bunch of drugs going on, and people living wherever they want, and liberal leadership, right? Whose misguided compassion has got them into this situation where you can't get rid of the homeless because they're people. You can't flush them down the toilet. Boop, not happening. Got to treat them like people, even though some of them end up like animals. So what are you going to do? You got to get them into treatment. You got to get them into psychiatric care. In state like California, sanctuary state, sanctuary cities, They're not going down the right roads. They're going down the wrong roads. Misguided compassion. And this is the end result of misguided compassion. Somebody dies of an OD. They don't know about them for a few days. Dogs get hungry and they eat their owner. Rather unsavory, right? This place has been a danger zone, the man said. Please, people don't feel safe and nothing is ever done to clear it for good. So, you can take these situations and they're interchangeable. It's like this is planned. It's like the homeless industrial complex is planned, for lack of a better words, because it's so similar in so many different communities that aren't next door to each other. LA, same as Seattle, same as Portland, same as San Fran, same as Vancouver, BC. He said his own dogs were attacked by animals living in the encampment. When he attempted to report it, he claims the Los Angeles Police Department told him there was nothing they could do about it. The dogs, he said, remained in the area. Same resident also said that power has been illegally hooked up at the encampment for months, and that despite a fatal RV fire in the area earlier this year, you shouldn't laugh. You shouldn't laugh because somebody died. But it's like, what do you expect when you allow this to continue? You got nut jobs on drugs who were whacked out of their minds. What did you think was going to happen? Yeah. Site continues to be occupied. He added that several abandoned cars are parked on the street and never receive citations, while residents, including himself, continue to be ticketed. What's up with that? That's a hard no-go. You got to push back. You got to push back a little bit. Got to tow those cars. The problem is California has a third of the homeless population for all of the United States. California's got 180,000 homeless people. So in reality, you've probably got closer to 300,000. If you did a really accurate point-in-time count, if you did more than send some volunteers out one evening during winter. Hey, are you homeless? One. You? Nah. You know, the count is like that. It's arbitrary and it's low. So 180,000 in California. All right. You're not going to be able to do much about them in any short period of time. You don't have the resources. You see the news stories about, we're installing 16 beds. This is a great victory for the community. And you got 2,000 homeless people roaming around in other people's garbages, stealing stuff, taking a dump wherever. You know, this is normal stuff. Authorities have not yet released any information regarding the causes of death. I mean, odds of 2 going down at one time, slim to none, other than it's a fentanyl, it's an overdose, it's something. You know, you used to say, it's a heroin overdose. Nobody does heroin anymore because, you know, fentanyl is so much stronger and it's cheaper. So there's that. You don't have to shoot it. Just smoke it. With supplies that cities give you, big liberal cities, they give you the supplies to smoke it. You get tired of smoking it, and you do the booty bump kit. Put it up your butt. Yeah. Bypass your gastrointestinal tract. It's all good. It's all good. I mean, God bless America. Nor have they confirmed resident claims about dogs in the area. Additional information will likely be provided once autopsy results are complete. Horrible. 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 Man, it's just... 2 found dead inside tent in Westlake months after fatal fire at same encampment. So, you know, it's these situations where you know what the end story is going to be. You know what it's going to, fire. Fire is such a common factor in the homeless community. Oftentimes, they're trying to keep warm. They're trying to, in a nylon tent, they're trying to cook something, or they're trying to smoke their drugs. And poof, tent goes up, RV goes up. Whatever goes up catches on fire and, just horrific results. So let's see. KTLA News reported that the Barajas family members found her body after they were unable to reach her for several days. Exact same deal with my son. My ex-wife, texted my son and my deceased son's girlfriend and said, hey, guys need to go check on Brandon. And, terrible. So they were unable to reach her for several days and tore open her tent, which was locked from the inside. ABC 7 News captured video of Animal Services picking up Barajas dogs from the encampment. Spokesperson for Animal Services said the department responded to a request from LAPD to retrieve 2 dogs from the encampment, a pit bull mix and a shepherd mix. Dogs are a form of protection in the homeless community. I mean, oftentimes you'll see that. You'll see them tied up, and they are just the meanest dogs you can see. And then they get hungry when they don't eat, and then you got it. Article goes on to say the death rate among people experiencing homelessness in LA County has increased by 55% between 2019 and 2021. It's an uptick public officials have attributed to a surge in fentanyl overdoses. Absolutely. I mean, because overdoses by, heroin has been on the decline Because everybody shifted to 𝗧𝗧, because it's stronger, it's cheaper. Why wouldn't you go to that? Well, because it might kill you. But nobody who does 𝗧𝗧 thinks that they're going to die. What they think is, I've built up a tolerance. It's going to be good. It's going to be okay. And actually, what happens in the homeless communities is when somebody overdoses, they ask around, hey, where'd they get that from? Where'd they get that from? Where'd they get that from? Because that's the good stuff. That's the strong stuff. It took out that weaker addict over there. I mean, those people died, but they weren't as strong as me. They haven't built up as much a tolerance as I have. Those are famous last words, right? Famous last words. And then, boom, you're dead. 2023, 2,508 people experiencing homelessness died in LA, which is equivalent to 6.9 deaths a day. And what's happening? Well, Gavin Newsom is telling all the homeless communities, telling all the cities with homeless communities, here's the game plan. We need to sweep these homeless communities every 72 hours, every 3 days. I'm going to sweep 180,000 people. I'm going to sweep 300,000 people every 3 days. Not happening. The Echo Park sweep. Talked about that earlier. That was to the, north of where we're talking about, north and west, I think. Maybe just due north. Who cares? Echo Park took forever to sweep, and all kinds of resources are required. You got to have cops. You got to have, outreach workers. You got to have public services. You got to have the fire department. You got to have the, garbage trucks. You got to have the bulldozers because they make such a mess of the park. And I think Echo Park was going to cost $600,000 to put it back together. And when they pulled up all the tents and tarps and the pallets, the wood pallets that they'd use as foundation, when they pulled all those up, rats just ran everywhere. Rats. And you could see the tunnels burrowed in the dirt underneath the tents, because they just tossed their garbage everywhere. Just no desire to keep a clean homeless encampment. It's just not a thing. Drug and alcohol overdoses were the leading cause of death, the 6.9 deaths a day in LA, counting for 45% of all fatalities. Encampment fires are also a contributor to deaths among people living on the streets or in vehicles. This story had somebody burn up, right? From 2018 to 2020, the number of fires related to homelessness nearly tripled, counting for roughly 38% of all fires the department responded to in that time. So not only do you have people ODing, you've got incredible amount of resources going to just the fire department responding to fires. We're not even talking 911 to police. Hey, I got somebody, dealing dope down here. No. Their tent's on fire. We need, so in case the community doesn't literally catch on fire. This is LA. You just got through the Pacific Palisades fires, right? Now you're dealing with fires in the homeless encampment. Remember? I wish I could remember which freeway it was. Maybe it was the 110 because it's super close to downtown LA. It's one of those feeder freeways into downtown LA. I guess we could go back and look at our map. I know 110 is the freeway we're dealing with here. Maybe it was the 101. I'm not really sure, but it was one of those where a huge fire had happened underneath the freeway. A bunch of pallets went up. Again, pallets, wood. They miraculously just caught on fire, and they had to close the freeway down because of that. Remember when that happened? I mean, this is pretty normal stuff. And they were thinking the freeway was going to be shut down for months. And then they somehow realized, okay, that's not as bad as we thought. And, horrible. Yeah, here's a quick one. Woman found dead of apparent OD at homeless encampment in downtown LA. I'm going to focus on the very end here. Animal Services was called to the scene to pick up the woman's dogs after the woman, described in her 30s, died of an OD. The call was initially reported as dog attack, but police say the animals were not attacking. They just went without food for several days. And all I could think of is, no, they didn't. They ate their owner. Horrible. Absolutely horrific. But that is, that's end result of terrible policy allowing people to basically do drugs wherever without any real repercussions and allowing people to live wherever without any repercussions, you can't get them back in the bottle. You can't stick that genie back in the bottle. Not happening. And Gavin Newsom, he's going to do a 2028 presidential run, guaranteed. I should say podcaster Newsom, because he's podcasting to try and do a little spin on his reputation because of stories like this. Stories like this shine a light on public policy that has absolutely failed. And it's not LA, not just LA. It's your standard, it's Denver, it's San Fran, it's Seattle, it's Portland, it's Vancouver, it's Philadelphia, Kensington Avenue, where you've just had leadership say, you know what, we want to be compassionate towards everybody. Whenever they get to checking themselves into, psych ward or rehab, that's when they'll do it because we believe in them as human beings. Unless, of course, they die of a drug overdose and their dog eats them. Horrible. Horrible. Whew. I need to think about something else. Thanks so much for joining. I'll see you on the next one. Love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you then. Bye for now.